difficulties. We certainly, share our apologies for any type of inconvenience to Kalina as well as to our guests. Looks like Kalina is back on the line. This is actually going live from my own personal Facebook page. For you guys that want to come in, hey Kalina, and you guys want to come in, I love it. Um, if you want to come in and definitely join us here, I'm gonna put the link in the Facebook page over there on Let's Talk About It there. So if you want to join us from there, just hit that link and we'll let you in. We hope to see you there. So just come on in and enjoy us for this conversation. Again, I know that this is being live streamed from my personal Facebook account, but I would want you guys to come on in and join us over here. So again, we're going to start a new.
I'm good.
My name is Cheryl, and this is
And I'm Saterica.
and this is Let's Talk About It Tuesday, as to where we are a mother daughter duo podcasting team, and we talk about all issues which affect, or at least try to talk about all issues that are affecting the Black and Brown communities. This month is Mental Health Awareness Month, Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. So what we wanted to do is that we wanted to focus up our discussions on minority mental health and different kind of stigmas which may be related to different types of situations or struggles in which individuals such as Black and Brown people may be going through. Last week, our guest was Michelle Franklin, and Michelle was on, and she was talking about um, how the stigma is associated with sexual assault victims, but however, how they're able to thrive. And she dropped some good gems, about that situation on her
Yeah,
journey.
and that was really powerful. And just in case you all missed it, we do have that on our page. So,
Exactly. And tonight we're going to talk about the topic of being deaf or hard of hearing. And we could not have chosen a better guest, I don't think, from
I
this
know.
subject.
Yeah,
We
you
met
look
her.
good.
You're looking fabulous. Her name is Kellina Powell. I'm not going to keep talking and going on. So I'm going to ask Kalina to come on and introduce herself and let us know a little bit, and let you guys know a little bit about who she is, Kalina.
Thank you so much. Sorry about the whole technology. I'm like, what's happening? Oh my God. Like, oh my God. It's always when you need it to work the
Yeah,
most,
yeah,
that's when it does not want to work. Honestly.
exactly. But that's what I said. That's we give them to everybody live, so things are subject to happen. But this is also we're going to throw that pitch in again one more time for that intern
Okay.
coming in help us out. So, Kalina, but this is your time, and go ahead on and let us know a little bit about you, and we're going to dive into your story right after you give us a brief introduction.
Definitely. Hi, everybody. My name is Kellina Powell, aka Deaf Queen Boss. I am so many things, honestly. I am an author, speaker, and a mental health coach for those who are young adults from age 15 to 35 years old. And I do specialize in depression, anxiety, self confidence, self esteem. And I'm also into mix of all culture. I do not have a specific background that I'm working with. I'm very open and very broad. And yeah, so that's really a little bit about me. And let's take it away.
All right, you're a dynamic woman. Before you got onto the broadcast, you may have heard us previously that we were talking about, these 24 students last weekend that got their high school diploma. It
Yeah.
was such a touching situation. I think I had the box and I'm just crying and everything because it's so touching. Um, her and I are not experts up in this field, so but we're here to learn, a little bit about deaf and hard of hearing individuals. I know, Kalina, you have spoken candidly and had authored the book, as you said, Every Day I'm Just Deaf. And kudos to you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
he is the best-selling author. Can you explain, well, you did explain that you became deaf at the age of 4.
Yes, I
Uh,
did.
all right, due to the failure and neglect of a daycare center, as we understand it. Can you please share with our viewers and our listeners
Mhm.
just what was that experience like for you? Just give us some. Can you shed a little light for us in that?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually did become deaf due to an ear infection, due to the daycare not following instruction. That same day, I actually became deaf. So what happened was when I went home, I was watching TV. My mom tapped me on my shoulder, and she was calling me, and I did not hear what my mom said. And my mom freaked out, and my mom was a young adult. And when she had me, she was a young adult. Of course, she was new to this motherhood, and my grandmother at the time, she was a nurse. So luckily, my grandmother knew exactly what she had to do with me. She put me to school. I actually put in a deaf school and a hearing school just to learn how to communicate. Because my family knows that being a deaf person, communication is a big thing for us while we grow up. The only way for us to learn is we start young. And so when my grandma taught me the value of communication, how to build my self confidence by advocating for myself, especially in the hand school, it was very difficult for me to be like everybody else because everybody else is hearing except for me.
Hmm.
And I felt like I was very outside much in the hand school versus the deaf school.
Hmm.
Obviously, I was more comfortable in the deaf school. And the sad thing is, when I was in the hearing school, I
Hmm.
didn't continue learning ASL.
Hmm.
And that felt like the hearing school ripped that part of my identity, not making me learn about who I am.
Yeah.
And it just sucked because unfortunately my family had to pull me out of the deaf school because it was too far. And if you notice, there's not a lot of deaf schools that
No.
are local.
Right.
There are and it's so sad because there are number of increasing of deaf people now. A lot of people are not aware of that. There's a lot more deaf people coming into the world that's going to be out there and so on. And I realized that there's not a lot of resources. Even my mom was struggling to find resources for me, even if for a deaf kid to go daycare or camp.
Yeah.
And my mom couldn't find that for me. She's like, how am I supposed to teach her? Her ASL. She didn't know. And obviously, to this day, my mom do
Hmm.
want me to continue my ASL, but she doesn't know. She was a young adult. She was in college when she had me. She has so much going on. And,
Yeah.
my family did thought about my future, and they said, you know what? They said to me, straight up, they're like, Kalina, you may not learn ASL because we do have a lot on our plate. And like they said, I would knew no one in my family had a disability like me. No one did. So, and everybody in my family wanted me to be fair. They don't
Hmm.
want me to feel like, okay, well, you treat my cousin better than I do. They
Hmm.
never wanted me to feel that way. And they wanted me to learn how to be like everybody else. But they know that's going to be challenged.
Hmm.
And that's really how I got my spark really was thank God for my family and my grandmother for continue working with me through the journey and allowing me to be myself, even though it's going to be hard and difficult. Not everybody gets the right support like I did.
Right.
And I'm always grateful for my family no matter what because they're always there for me, especially during COVID. COVID was the most difficult year for me because
Yeah.
I'm a lip reader. I have to read your lip. Every person you meet who is deaf, they need to see your lip in order to have a conversation. A lot of people did not know that during COVID until I brought it up during COVID. And I said, unfortunately, I'm not coming outside. You have your mask on.
Right. Yeah.
Bye. I'm not coming. So like I told my family and my friend, I'm not coming outside. The mask. No, I cannot do it. I just cannot.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's really yeah.
So, about how many deaf people are there in the United States?
I don't have the exact number, but it's very small number, but it's growing.
Right, right. So it's pretty, you say small, but it's probably large in comparison to,
Hmm.
to the population. Um, you mentioned too that, well, let me ask you this. So, is there a distinction between being deaf and being hard of hearing? What's the difference? Is there a difference in that?
Yeah, for sure. There is differences. Everybody define themselves the way how they are. I don't speak for everybody. For me, when someone tells me they are deaf, they do not have tool to help them hear. Instead, they rely on ASL. So they call themselves mute, right? So because they do not, either one, they cannot afford hearing aids. Hearing aids are like $5,000 each year.
Yeah.
They're really, they're really expensive. Some people can't afford it, period. So they just rely on ASL. So that's how I define someone who is deaf and someone who is hard of hearing, who knows either both ASL and who speak verbally, and someone who do have equipment in their ears, like myself. I have a hearing aid in both ears, and so that's how I define deaf and hard of hearing person.
Okay, all right. And is there a distinction, because sometimes we see the spelling of deaf with the capital D and then uh, deaf with the small d. So why is that?
That's a really good question. I didn't even started noticing that, like literally as soon as I started this industry, and someone did have to teach me that because that was not something I learned when I was growing up. I was really confused myself when I saw that. I'm like, what's the difference? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And so people told me it's a difference between how the individual, if they speak or not. If I'm mistaken, that's the difference. But I never really used capital D or lowercase d. I just put it in D, lowercase d.
Now, earlier you had mentioned that when you became deaf at the age of 4, um, can you explain to us what kind of activities that you have engaged in just to adjust to the speaking?
For sure. So, oh God, what did I even do? At 4 years old, I'm trying to remember.
Or just in general as growing up, from um, kindergarten, freshman year, sophomore year, senior year, what activities did you engage in? And, you
I
know,
actually, I actually
um,
engaged in a lot of things. You guys are gonna be really surprised. I actually used to do rugby. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay, good for you.
I would, I don't know why, but I love the sport rugby. So I actually had a coach, but it actually was in high school. And I remember my coach, she was actually my English teacher. And I don't know how she came to me and she said, Kalina, I need you to join the team. So I looked at her in the face like, how? I'm too small, like not to be, you know what I mean? I don't know how to attack people. And so for me, I was so focused on my ears, my hearing aid, because I
Yeah,
didn't want to break it.
yeah.
And so there's a lot of more physical, and I don't like physical sports like that. I truly do not. I like to stick to my soccer, and that's it. Soccer is the only thing that I can, something that don't touch me. Don't I? And honestly, I was a girly girl. I did not like to get dirty in the mud for rugby. I was like, I'm never doing that. Um, but I did actually know about sports. But I just never done swimming classes. I never done that because I cannot hear at all in the water. I know some people could do it, but I don't hear a lot of deaf people who does swimming for
yeah.
activity wise. But I mostly hear like volleyball or something that is simple and where we can look around, something that is smart and intimate. So volleyball, soccer, basketball, maybe basketball, but basketball's a little too loud for us. For me personally, I hate basketball because I do not like the whistle every second. I
Yeah,
truly don't. I
yeah.
used to play basketball myself, and I used to get a headache a lot after ball, and I was like, no, I'm gonna play ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like to hear the whistle, period. You know, but some I'm like, but um,
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, well, it seems like when you had mentioned your teacher wanted you to be in rugby, it seemed, and I'm going to let you answer this. Do you believe that the coaches and the teams, your team players, do you think that they encourage you to play sports, which you already answered that, but in what ways would you say that they, um, and disability?
So my coach was very smart. So every time, so well, not every time, but before I came into the team, we had a discussion. Everybody in the team had a discussion. Like she asked me, she said, "Kalina, it's okay if we can have an open discussion with the team about
Okay.
you being deaf."
Okay.
And I said, "For sure, why not? I need to be safe in the field. Are you
Right.
crazy?
Exactly.
I need to be safe." And she said, yeah, let's do it. And I said, yeah, let's do that. Because if I get hurt, God forbid, like, the school needs to pay for my injury. So and for me, my injury is triple than anybody else because of my hearing aid.
Mhm.
And so I remember we had a team discussion, and one of my best friends, she was also on the team, thank God. And so she was just like, she was engaged in the conversation the most because I felt really awkward. I got to ask my team, like, this is what I need. And I felt really bad because it's like, it's not their responsibility, but had a team, you have to take care of everybody, right? And that
Yeah.
was something that my coach taught me was like, if you have a team, you need to build together. And so I said, okay, well, miss. So anyway, so when the meeting came, and my teammates were really open, they were really accepting, thank God. They were very accepting. And the only thing was, I remember I think it was halftime. So I told my teammates, you guys gotta tell me when it's halftime or when things are done. Like, stop tackling people or don't go crazy on the field because I may not hear the whistle.
Yeah.
I remember one time, I think something happened on the field, and I was talking to a girl by mistake. I didn't mean to do it. And then I remember one of my teammates grabbed my hair by an accident because she was trying to tell me, no, no, just sit still. And so it was so crazy. And so I actually, so my coach, how many coaches did we get? I think we had 3 coaches. So we
Mhm.
had like a student came in, and so they will be on the side with me, not with me, but like kind of be on the side for me to see. And then she would do go if the whistle go blow, and then she would tell me stop so I can see on the side. But she doesn't always have to be there. But she was so sweet. She was just always there. She was just like, I'm gonna stay here for you. You're so good. You're super fast. Which is true. I was really really quick. Like I was a really big runner for them. So they needed me to be on the team. So they were like, okay, Kalina, walk the side of the field. I'm like, okay, I will do that.
Yeah.
And so that's how we did it very well. And that's how my team and I went through it together. And yeah, we had a really open, honest discussion. And I told my teammates straight up, give me a straight up feedback. I don't BS. I truly don't.
Mhm.
Because I do like to win with my team. Of course, I want you guys to win. I don't want you guys to lose because of me, because I can't hear, And it's a lot of pressure at the same time because they're kind of like not. I don't know how to explain it, but you just don't want the pressure on yourself because you don't want to make a mistake. You don't. It was something that could have been avoided if I
Mhm.
hear the whistle. So that was something I had to like. Okay, I'm going to pay attention. So yeah.
Yeah, and seeing that you said that sometimes, like with it being a lot of pressure, and I'm sure that was because you have a lot of weight on your shoulders
Mhm.
with that. Um, are there other times where you felt like things were too difficult, or where they were just beginning to be so much on you?
Um. No, in a way, I feel like everybody was just being calm about it. Which is, some people I know were ignorant sometimes,
Yeah,
but it happens. It's a game. You just have to like just walk it out and just say, you know what, it is what it is. It's just a
hmm,
game.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You had mentioned about having a supportive family and everything, which is awesome. That I think that that's part of it. Being able to cope and being able to get through, your struggles, and that's for with anything. What about the parents today that may be struggling, or just want some advice? What would be some of your, you know, suggestions to them, about you know, um, in the educational, I'm gonna narrow that down. In the educational system, what would be some tips that you would drop to the parents about their child in a public education system? That what advice would
For
you have?
definitely, there's so many advice I can give to so many parents that are listening. My first thing is go to the school, talk to the teacher, set up a
hmm,
meeting for your kids. That's number one. It's
Yep.
super important that you do sit down and take
Mhm.
the initiative about the meeting with teachers, because I do want teachers to make sure that you have the parent are being watched
Mhm.
within your child. A
Mhm.
lot of us disabilities student like myself, I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I have been bullied by my own teacher, and I have teachers that tell me different things. No, me set up a meeting, let them know who you are. You need to show face. You have to,
You have to.
because you need to show them your child is not here for anything. Your child's here to learn and be educated.
Mm-hmm.
Once they do see that, they're gonna take your child serious.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Second,
Mm-hmm.
second, IEP. A
Yeah.
lot of us,
That's it. Yep.
yeah, IEP is super important. I feel like my mom took a really, like, my mom killed it. I will tell you guys that's what my mom did. First thing first, my mom looked at the IEP. Her student was sent to me the very first month of the school year, sorry. So my mom looked at it, highlighted everything that she's like, nope, I don't need my daughter doing this. I don't need my daughter doing that.
Yeah.
Why is my
Yeah.
daughter doing that? And please read the IEP very carefully.
Yes.
Yes, you
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
You need to read it very carefully. If you do not read it very carefully, believe me, it's going to hunt your child down the long run.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
IP follow up through a whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yep.
feel like a lot of time parents just think that teachers are there to help. Not all teachers are.
Not
And I'm
all of
sorry to hurt. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to teachers, but there's some teachers that just I feel like are the money and just
them.
go home.
And it's hurting.
And and I just feel like a lot of time, as a parent, we think that we can rely on teachers. I'm going to tell you something. No, you cannot. The only person you can rely on is your child, to make sure your child come home and said, hey, this is what happened at school and this is it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing you can do. And if you notice something's up with the IEP, always go straight back to the school and fix it. And
Mhm.
believe me when I tell you, when they see that you actually pay attention, they will never want to screw you over ever again. Believe me when I tell you that. My mom showed up to the school 5 times in 1 year
Wow.
because
Wow.
the teacher did not, like, they just didn't care. And it was so sad. It's like, but I'm trusting you with my kid. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so I will always tell every parent, never look back. Always take the initiative, speak with the teacher, look at the IEP. Please read carefully of the IEP. And three, always ask the kid every single day, how was school? Never, not one day slip. Don't. Always ask, how was school? Because you want to make sure that these teachers are respecting your wishes
Yeah.
along with your child. I feel like a lot of teachers do not respect parents' wishes. Just like, for example, I had my guidance counselor. She kind of brainwashed me. Thank God
Mm.
I told my mom. She kind of brainwashed me that I need to go to college instead of university, knowing that's not what my mom wanted. My mom wanted me to go to university, and
Mm-hmm.
she switched my timetable. So
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
that's what she did. So that is definitely my advice.
Yeah. And I know exactly what you mean about staying up on that IEP plan and making sure that you know how many minutes, of each area, that is up in that IEP plan. If they're not getting it, I do think, that you can always ask for comp time, which is back. Know your advocacy surrounding that IEP plan. I know that there's a few IEP advocates, which is out there. You may want to Google it. I don't have any of those right off the top of my head, but we would definitely put some up on our Let's Talk About It up in the website there. Get those resources out there to you here in the next day or so for someone who wants to know about more about IEP plans. Learn it, learn about the federal law behind it, because that's going to help you out a whole great deal. Learn what the disciplinary procedures that also falls behind that plan. Okay. Um, as she said, you're going to want to know it, and you have to be involved.
Yeah,
You've
definitely.
got to be involved every
Be,
step of the way.
yeah, because as a parent with the child on the IEP, at first when I got the IEP, I was like, "What is this?" Like, I know nothing about this. But as the years went on, and also with the 504 plans, you got to pay attention to those
And the
too.
difference, you got to know the
Yeah, you
difference
definitely
between
got to
those
know the
because
difference
they,
of the
yeah,
504
exactly.
because I mean, to me, I believe the IEP plan protects the children
Hmm.
more than the 504 plan. And with the IEP plan, over the years when went by, and I was just like, I gotta pay attention to this. I gotta know, like, my mom just mentioned, like the minutes, where is he spending his time to get
Yeah,
this
especially if they're
time, and
putting them up
then
in ISS or something like that. If
yeah,
if they're
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
where are all these minutes that are going to that this child is entitled to?
exactly,
So,
because just because as the teacher you don't have a disability, you still have to take your time. This is what you came to do.
mhm,
This
Yes.
is what you got your degree in.
Yes.
You came to
Uh,
teach, not teach. You just can't sit up there and just give a student a packet and then expect them to do something, or especially with a child with a disability, they need that extra help. They need that extra support too.
mhm,
And then what is called now para, but they teachers assistants. They got
yeah.
to get training too when it comes to kids with disability, not just the special education teachers, but all teachers need that training, and also teach the other students too
yeah,
about kids with disability.
yeah,
And
Exactly.
and don't make the child feel like sped special education
it's a bad thing,
is a bad thing,
you know.
and
Yeah.
in a class for slow kids. There's been plenty of times where my child has came home and said that sped he feels like he's slow because of the situations of what the teachers put him through. So
Yeah,
yeah, definitely pay attention out there, parents who have children on IEPs and 504 plans.
yeah. And our friend Jeff Johnson, he is out there watching, and I know that he definitely has a particular interest in the IEP plan. And he reminded me it is Wright's Law. They have volumes of information. It is a law firm. And that's how I came to learn some of the things in which I learned and was able to be the advocate at that time,
Hmm.
on behalf of some family members who's going through an IEP plan. But yes, definitely teach these kids have got to know that just because someone needs a little bit more help, and we all
Exactly.
need a little bit
Yeah,
more
we all
help,
need help.
does not
Exactly.
mean that we are a lesser individual to anything. Kind of along the same, what we're talking about. Communication may be a
Hmm.
factor, and I know that it is. So, what are your thoughts and barriers that about communication in deaf and hard of hearing people and the mental health? How does that intersect? Give us a little bit more of your thoughts on that.
For sure. Communication. A lot of us don't have a lot of education about it. Number first thing is I always tell people make sure you always face the deaf person. And also too when you're speaking, talk softer. Talk stop. Don't talk rough. I know it's a lot of people mistaken when someone said, "Can you please repeat that?" They tend to shout or yell
Yeah.
and and I'm like, I never asked you to yell. I just said repeat what you said. So I always tell people, I'm like, can you please talk stopper? That's
Yeah.
what I meant. Not yell at me. And for me, I get really like I don't get emotional when someone yell at me, but I'm like, yo, don't yell at me. I'm very like a very bold person, so I'll tell you straight. I'm like, do not yell at me. So that's the one thing. And number two, I noticed a lot of time people try to shout our name. That's my biggest problem with some people. I'm like, stop calling my name across the street. I can't hear you. Um, and then the third thing is cell phone. That's the biggest one. So a lot of time people try sometimes call me or send me a voice note, and I'm like, stop sending me voice notes. I can't see your lips. I need to see you. And
Hmm.
so I need to be on either FaceTime or if it's like a family member, I'm super used to. I recognize my family member's voice very well, so they can call me. That's different. But if you're someone who I never really talk to, or and your voice is very, I would expect either FaceTime, Zoom call, or something like that. But yeah, definitely do not send a deaf person voice note or give them a phone call. Always give them a FaceTime. It's so much easier for us to read your lips and to really have a flow conversation instead of like ha 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 repeat that again. No, and believe me, a lot of us deaf people get tired of repeating ourselves so many times, and I'm pretty sure you don't yourself. And so
Mhm.
I always tell people make the communication easy. Don't make it very hard and complicated, especially if you're ready told you how we like to be communicated. A lot of
Mhm.
time, people can be ignorant and they ignore what we ask for, and that's a huge thing. A lot of us face. But yeah, that's the best way to communicate with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. Let's talk about Kalina's empowerment.
Yeah.
You operate the company. Can you please let us know of what Kalina's empowerment is about, and then what is the mission on that?
Definitely. So my mission is to help young adults with disabilities to feel confident with themselves. So that way they learn how to advocate for themselves. A lot of time, not just myself, but I've seen and witnessed so many young adults suffer so much due to COVID. And I realized that something needs to be changed in the disability community. A lot of us don't really talk about mental health at all. And that is my mission.
Mhm.
And the whole point of Clean Empowerment is to I'm a coach, obviously mental health coach. My coaching service is mainly focused on positive psychology. I do not focus on negative psychology where I focus on the client trauma. I'm more focused on the client goals and the end goals. The reason for that is because, again, I am deaf myself. I know I do not like talking about my trauma. I just want to learn how to get the end goal. How do I get there?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
a lot of us sometimes feel like I'm not saying we get stuck in a trauma when we talk about it too much. I feel like a lot of us do not get the result that we want to have because we don't have someone that's with us that can help us to pass through it. And that's why I like to be an assistant, kind of assistant. I don't know. A lot of people call me the assistant, the guardian, like, because it's always just there.
mhm.
And I just love being there for people. And I do one on one. I do family, and I do relationship. I do a variety of different one on one. But yeah, that's what I do.
You're just the boss queen. That's what you
Yes,
call
she is.
yourself.
It is at the boss queen. Where did that name come from? You
Empowerment. Oh, my mom named it for me.
know, call yourself the deaf boss queen. And I've seen you on Instagram
Yes.
and, of course, Facebook, we're following you and all that. And even in your book and all like that. So what made you decide to come up with that name? That's a pretty powerful name.
Yeah.
Clean empowerment.
No, the uh,
Boss queen.
boss queen, deaf boss, deaf boss.
Oh, that's Queen Boss. Oh,
Yeah.
so basically, I was actually playing with I was writing it actually. I was writing and I put Deaf Queen. And I'm like, I want something Deaf Queen something, right? Because everybody always called me, Clean at the boss. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm the boss? No, I was just like, there's no way I'm a boss. There's no way. People's like, you just have the attitude. And I was like, I do? And then and so, like, people think you're a queen, you're a boss, like, you just have it all in you. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me see if I can put the deaf in there. And so I'm like, how can I put the deaf queen? And then I was playing with deaf queen that, and then I was playing around with it. And I was on Instagram, I was TikTok. I think it was TikTok, and a girl said something about boss and her name. I'm like, maybe I can put boss in my name too. So I went back to the paper and I played around with it again. I put deaf boss queen or deaf queen boss, and I'm like, Deaf Queen Boss it is. I like that one better. And
Yeah.
then so I went online and looked at other people to make sure that no one had my name. I'm like, let me do that my research. And then I found out no one had it. I was happy and I went straight to it. I'm like, I'm the Deaf Queen Boss. Call me that. And so yeah, so that's really how I made it up.
Yeah, that you are such a inspiring individual, and that's what when we first met you doing our pre-conference that call that we have, and I'm like, wow, she is amazing. Then
She is. She's
yes, we
so
got to reading
sweet.
your book and all of that. It's like, yeah, we definitely want to have her as a guest here. I want to circle back for just a second and talk about the communication.
Mhm.
Before you actually come online, we were talking about some sign language and the English vernacular, the Black English vernacular. Um, when it comes to signing, I believe that there is a dictionary or something like that, that would actually sign in the Black vernacular. Um, how, if that is true, I think that it is true. How often do you think that other individuals are using that? Uh, and what's the need for it? Why would you feel that there's a need for?
So once again in the Black community, I know the sign language is different, because a lot of us like to do slang and so
Yeah,
it's just how we are. It's just how we are.
the culture.
So a lot of people, in terms of the outsider, they don't know that. They don't know our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that a lot of time, even on TikTok or Instagram, like the Black content creators, they would do their sign language, and they're completely deaf actually, and they're muted. They're mute. They don't have hearing aids, and I think one of them just got a hearing aid or a cochlear implant not too long ago, and and I was studying them for a hot minute, and I was just watching, and I'm like, what's the point of this? What's the purpose? And I feel like it's the better way for us, especially the Black community, to connect more. And I feel like it's just the way how culture are, and it's something that we cannot change, you know. And I feel like it's very need for it because we need to feel connected to our Black community, not just
Yeah.
the outsider. You know, if it's something that fits us for our culture, then why not? And I know a lot of people tend to take it personal, and I tell people, no, you should not take it personal. And it's just how we are at the Black community. We are very, outgoing, bubbly. We're just out there. It's just,
Our
Yeah.
language, yeah.
yeah,
You
it's
understand?
just how we are. And
Right.
so a lot of people don't accept it, but that's too bad. But that's it.
It's just the way that it
Yeah.
is, exactly. And her and I do plan on having, another discussion up on the Black language or the Black vernacular, and
Right.
and because there's nothing wrong with the way we talk, right?
Exactly. There isn't.
Nothing
Nothing
wrong
wrong
at
with the
all.
way.
I'm fine with it. I'm totally fine. I'm cool with it. And they feel like it's
Well,
they
yeah,
feel like some people feel like it's aggressive because the way they sound super fast with the face expression. And I tell people that that's your problem. If they were to do it to us and the Black community, I think we'd be fine. I'm not attacked by it.
yeah,
It's just us. It's just how our Black community are. That's how our cultures are.
Yeah.
To add.
Yeah, most
Like,
definitely.
yeah, exactly, most definitely.
I had to deal with that in a workplace at a point in time.
Yeah,
You know, my friend who is just like me, who looks just like me, she understood everything in which I told her, but you didn't understand. What? That's not on me. That's on you. And I'm gonna keep it moving with my sister over here.
Mhm.
Okay.
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. I feel like everybody knows what and ways and how to communicate with one another. People
Yeah.
have their own unique way of doing it, and I feel like a lot of people need to understand that people communicate different.
Really,
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
All right. So let's talk some more about your advocacy. Um, how did you advocate for yourself when you
Hmm.
were growing up?
Already, it's a lot of stories. Oh Lord.
All right, we got time today.
Already. Oh my God. Already. Where do I start? So, back in, honestly, it took me a hot, sorry, it took me a really long time to advocate for myself. It actually started when I actually transferred to the Heron School. That's when I learned how to advocate for myself. I had a teacher did not like wearing microphone for me. He thought it was a toy. So when I told her, I'm like, excuse me, you need to put this thing on. And I remember I went home to my mom and I complained to my mom about it. I'm like, Mom, the teacher do not want to wear it. And I got super frustrated because I cannot hear in class. Then my mom said, you better go back to that school and tell that teacher to put it on or your mom is coming. So and then I was like, okay, Mom, I will say that. And my you're a kid, you don't know what to say. You just listen to what your parents tell you to do. So a lot
Hmm.
of times my mom told me what to do. I listened. So I told my teacher, and I gave my teacher that look like, you better do this when my mama coming over and coming to school. Like I was that little girl. I don't know why. Yeah, and I think my mom told me to say that. I think that's exactly why. And so my teacher freaked out. She's like, oh, no, 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 no. Don't go home and tell your mom I didn't put it on today. And I
Okay.
said, okay, okay. And so I got when had going to school, middle school and elementary school, all those years, same thing. Teacher didn't want to tell my mom. My mom tell me what to say so I can pass it to them. So I feel like when my family give me that talking, I have it in me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They give that to me to like, you need to have this attitude, you need to have this tone.
Yeah.
And so they taught me that and show me that. And I was like, and I was young, I don't know. And for a 4-year-old who became deaf, I had to mature a lot and learn how to advocate very young. And I guess because I started young, I was able to pick it up super fast and just consistently like, hey, no, you can't do that. I'm sorry. I can't do that. I can't do this. No, you need to wear it. So I was very like consistent, and because my family was consistent and were on me a lot, a lot. When I tell you guys a lot, a lot. Like every single day I come home, my mom's like, "Hey, how was school today? Did they wear the affirmative stem? Did they, talk about your IEP? Did they give you accommodation on your test?" And so, I'm,
Wow.
and that's how I advocate for myself, because I always consistent being keeping my family in the loop what was
Mhm.
going on. No matter how old I was. Even in high school, I still told my family what was going on in school. And my family advocated for me too. My family has to come into school
Mhm.
consistent, and my mom made sure that I was in the meeting. Because my mom wanted me to watch how she was talking. My mom
Oh,
said, "You see how I was talking?" Yeah. And my mom said, "You see how I was talking to that teacher? You need to have the attitude too, and I don't care how old you are." I was like, "Okay, mom, I'll do it."
that
You
is
know?
amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and that's how it is. I feel like once you show your child something, they will follow you, and they will do exactly the same thing what you show. So, I think that's why and how I learned how to advocate, because my mom would always keep me in the loop. I was always in a meeting. I was always there. And I always see and watch how my mom and my grandmother and my aunt, how they interact with the teacher, the principal, especially the principal. I did not even know. And I was like, whoa. I know I have the power to use
Mm-hmm.
my voice to
Mm-hmm.
talk. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how powerful my voice was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that is something my mom taught me in school meeting. You need to be in a school meeting. I don't care if you have a test. Yeah, my mom did not care if I had a test. Oh my God. She's like, "I don't care if you have a test. You're coming." I'm like, okay.
Yep.
I thought I was getting in trouble, but my mom said, no, you need to watch and you need to see it. So that is really how I advocate for myself. And, shout out to my mom, my family for teaching me. And they always teach me how to go. So there's things, even though I'm 26 years old now, I'm still learning. My family's still teaching me how to advocate for myself as an adult now. You need to stick up for yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm. Exactly. Absolutely. Um, the next question I had for you is in reference to um, I lost my thought so quick. I'm getting old. Um, no, but I did want to go back, and I did want to talk about with parents. How can we? Oh, I know what it was. What is the most common misbelief that you think that um, surrounds deaf people and hard of hearing people? What's the most common misconception?
A lot of people sometimes think that a deaf person is not capable of driving. A lot of people think that deaf people can't drive.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I have my own car. I have my own vehicle. I drive. I drive 24/7. Like, seriously. I drive every day. And I remember one time I had my hair two braided, just the two pieces, because you can actually see my hair in. And
Did
I
you
don't know.
did you make the video? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but did you make the
Yes, yes, I did. Yes,
I know
yes.
that
And the guy looked at me dead in the face and he was shocked. He's like, "You drive?" And I just looked at him like, "Excuse me? Yes, I do. Watch me." And then he hopped in my car. And then I'm not even joking. I had my little sister with me. My sister, I told my sister, "Is he washing?" My sister said, "Oh yeah, he is washing. Keep driving." And yeah, that's definitely a misconception. A lot of people think about that person. And also too, a lot of people think that every deaf person knows ASL. Not every deaf person knows ASL, like myself.
Yeah.
Um, and I always tell people that Don't assume too much about a deaf person.
Mhm.
Don't. Just always have a conversation. Just ask them, like, hey, listen, I know you're deaf. What can I do to communicate with you? Or do you do ASL? Do you speak verbally? Do you need something? Just ask. Don't be afraid to ask.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I guess, but that was going to be my next question. Like, what would you want hearing people? What would you want them to understand more about non-hearing deaf people?
I would want them to know that don't be afraid to ask questions. A lot of people don't ask questions. People just assume. And I remember this one time that I don't know, it happened so many times with me. A lot of people don't even take the initiative to say, Kalina, how can I accommodate you? How can
Yeah.
I talk to you?
Mhm.
A lot of people don't do that to me. A lot of people just talk to me, and I'm like, whoa, slow down. You talk way too fast for me. Can you please slow down when you're talking? Sometimes I have to remind people. So I would say that's the number one thing. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Because we will appreciate that you've been asking us because you do care about our communication style and you do care about building a relationship with one of us.
Right. Absolutely. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Very good question. And I think that we do kind of fall up into these stigmas, and we're thinking that we're playing it safe.
Hmm.
So with that thinking that we're playing it safe, then we're beginning to make these assumptions and we're acting up off of that. And in all actuality, we can be pretty disrespectful in what we're doing. So I like that. Thank you for that tip. As you stated, just ask and come in and just have a communicate. Just ask. Talk. You know. You have any other questions?
No, that anyone or viewers or listeners.
I know that Jeff Johnson, again, he felt that this was a good meeting and he wanted to applaud you and your mother
Yes,
for the strong
definitely.
advocacy that you have. And I think that, I can definitely just say, hey, power starts from within. You
Yeah,
know, that sometimes we think that, oh, these people can have power over us, but people, we can't. Only time someone has power up over you is when you give them that power.
Exactly.
But your
exactly.
power starts up inside yourself, you know. And we you just have to find it what that power is. So each one of us possess one, whether we're hearing or non-hearing. Each one of us possess a certain power within ourselves that can drive us to do great things in life,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
sometimes we use it the other way. And so
Exactly.
exactly. He's also thinking that maybe possibly he can have you in one of he as a president, I do believe, of a Parents First organization. That's a nonprofit organization. I think they're nationwide. Jeff, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But they are nonprofit. They advocate upon individuals with disabilities. So if you want her, Jeff, to do that, then I would definitely connect you guys together so that you can, have that conversation. Entrepreneurship.
Mm.
Yes, I'm happy to.
Mhm.
So with Kalina, and run us again about Kalina and empowerment. We know that that's kind of like your advocacy organization in which you go out and you kind of do some coaching and everything, for individuals trying to be that support person, which is there. Are there any other entrepreneur ventures that you're on or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Well, then tell us about more about this book that you have
Okay.
written, and it became a best-selling book. So, what inspired you to write this book, and what would you like individuals to know about your book, and where to go get your book
For sure. So my book is on Amazon. Yes, it's
from?
everywhere on Amazon. You can find it on Amazon. And it's called Every Day I Am Just Deaf. It's a poetry book, so it's not a big fat book. It's a poetry book, so don't worry. And it's only 95 pages. It's really about me being deaf, like what it's like to be deaf and what it's like to be in Kalina's shoes. What
Yeah.
did Kalina have to face daily basis? What did she have to go through? And I talk about everything in my book. I spoke about relationship. I spoke about work. I spoke about school.
Yeah.
I spoke about family, friends. How did I feel? How did it make me feel? And it's
Yeah.
super important for the hearing community to understand what it's like to be deaf daily basis. And because I noticed that, once again, there's not a lot of education about the deaf community. Not a lot of us are deaf authors. If you notice, have you read a book by deaf authors? 90% of the answer I get is no. A
No.
lot of people never had.
Yeah.
And because of me interacting with the hearing community 90%, not even 90, 99% of the time, they all don't know what to do. When they meet me, I'm basically the first person they meet. And I was like, oh wow, I'm the first deaf person you met. They're like, yeah. And when I tell people, like, hey, I have my own book, and they're like, oh my God, you do? Oh my God, can I get your copy? Where? And I said, it's on Amazon. So, yeah, so that's really about my book. My book is very short, poetry. It's about me, what's like being deaf. And you can also relate to the book too, not just about my deaf experience, but other things as well.
Mhm. Yeah. Exactly. Well, we're definitely gonna get the book. I know I haven't gotten through all 95 pages of it, but I have got. And I thought that I mean the way as you open the book itself is it's pretty powerful. And you guys, she does have it's called Every Day I Am Deaf.
Every day I am deaf.
Every Day I'm
Yeah.
Deaf
Amazon.
on Amazon. She also has her website at Kalina and is it
Yeah.
KalinaEmpowerment.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
KalinaEmpowerment.com.
Mm-hmm.
She is also up on Facebook, Kellina Powell. Okay, and Instagram too. You can definitely reach her through one of those
And
mediums and
then
everything.
go back over some of her YouTube videos that she's done in the past.
Hmm.
You know, they get better and better.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. In terms of success, how would you define success? Irrelevant if you're hearing or not hearing.
I was saying how much people I'm impacting. That is my definition of success. How many people am I going to impact? How many people I can help? That is my success.
Okay.
My goal is to help people globally, not just North America, but globally. And I do know it's just a big issue within the disability community. It needs to stop.
Yeah.
And that is my definition of success. How am I impacting people? How can I help change people's life? The more help, the better success I can be and get.
Um, in terms of mental health, what would be, is there any particular resources out there for individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing that they go to, or they just kind of just go to, like,
Mm-hmm.
the,
Yep. So there's not that much particular resources for us, the deaf community, unfortunately. It really with the hearing community, unfortunately.
yeah.
I know a lot of people came to me that said, if it wasn't for you having your coaching, I don't think I would have the resources.
And what would be a message in which you would want people in Congress? What's your message to them?
My message for organization is to always provide disability resources, always provide that. And I feel like people, especially organizations themselves, they don't understand that there's always going to be that one person in the community that needs the disability resources. There's always going to be that one person, no
Hmm.
matter where you go.
Hmm. So I'm thinking that I'm hearing that they need to put more funding towards
Oh
funding
yeah.
programs. Definitely we know for mental health,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely let's start looking at resources and programs that we can be more of a support. For deaf and hard of hearing individuals. Um, the anxiety. I know that you had spoken about the anxiety, which came behind. Pretty much would you call it, being discriminated against? Um, what would be what would be for an individual who's going through that right now? What message would you have for someone who is deaf and hard of hearing and maybe struggling through those same symptoms in which you were experiencing or going through the same situation? What would be your particular message to them
My message to them right now is say that take a deep breath,
Yeah.
take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
Not every day is going to be a perfect day. You are allowed to have a bad day. Not every day needs to be perfect.
Right.
Second, if you had a dream tonight and God told you you were going home tomorrow, knock on wood, how would you want to live your life? Think about it that way. If God gives you a timeline,
Mm-hmm.
how would you want to live your life? If you know how you want to live your life like that, then you know you have to change something. But
Right.
once again, you are allowed to have a bad day. Don't think every day is a perfect day.
Mm.
And that is my message.
Wow, that's very and that's
Right
powerful.
there.
Yes, it is. It's very powerful. I also heard you told say before too is like don't ever listen to what other people say about you. Okay, I think that that was very powerful and encouraging for individuals too, is to know to quit listening to the naysay.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're always going to have someone who
Mm-hmm.
tells you or don't believe that you can do this. You got to put that from up out of your mind. Get that from up out of your mindset and uh, believe within yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to have a bad day in order to regain yourself and realize who you are and what you mean. So, like I said, it is okay to have a bad
It's
day.
okay to have a bad day. It is. Um, do we have any questions which are out there? I'm not I see that Jeff definitely has, he is very appreciative of this
Yes, thank you,
conversation.
Jeff.
We appreciate you coming on.
Yes.
Again, we apologize for all the technical difficulties that we had. But she was persistent. And I'm like, oh my God, we've lost her. But she was persistent. She emailed me,
Yes,
hey, is there going to
yes,
be another
yes.
link? And I'm like, honey, it's already there to you because we got to do this. We've been waiting too long for this
Definitely.
conversation to take place. And Kalina, I hope that you would join us again at some time. Oh,
Right. Of
yeah, in
course.
the future, because we love you. We do love you. You have been an amazing guest and host, and just someone that we just like just partner. And you know, that's a lot when you are trying to be a guest or something up on a show. Is that you got to make sure that the personalities fits and all that.
Yeah.
So we do
Yeah.
a pre-screening, with the guests in which we bring on the show because we want to make sure that it's a fit for us and it's a fit for you. And
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
exactly. And so far we're doing good,
She
you know.
automatically lit up the moment that we spoke to you the first time. And I'm not gonna lie, I was on your page. I was like, who is she? Who is this girl?
And I didn't want to say your age, but you could say can I tell your age? Can I tell your age? What are you? You're like
Yeah.
26 or something like that?
But has a mentality of
You feel
yeah.
like you've been here before. You
That's
are powerful. You are powerful.
very powerful. And that's
And
what when you kept talking about well when you were in the elementary and middle school, I was like, she's gotta be older than 30.
mhm, mhm,
She's
yeah.
got to because the way that you talk and the way that you bring and present yourself and all that you've done been through in life and how you have learned from it, how you took that pile that them burdens and you went on ahead and made them you turned them burdens into something more powerful and bigger than that.
Mhm,
And so it's like,
yeah.
girl, you got it going on.
Yes, she did. Yeah. Well, okay, we don't have any more questions for you, so I think that we're gonna. That's right, Jeff. God's gift of life, and she's
Yes.
got it. He allowed for you, to lose your hearing. He gave you that period of life for about 4 years, and then he's like, "No, I've got a bigger purpose for you." And look, it's manifesting right now. And
Hmm.
I'm sure that you are touching lives. I know that you have because we have somebody here from Columbia, Missouri, who wants to connect with you and have you come to present to their organization. So, thank you for allowing God to use you and
Hmm.
answering that call and continue to answer that call. we're gonna keep following you. Okay.
Okay.
So everybody go like her page, her Facebook page, Kellina Powell. Um,
Yes.
go get that book. Go buy that book. Every day I am deaf. Go buy it. It's up on
Available on
Amazon.
Amazon.
Go like her YouTube channel and her Instagram channel. And that's kind of it for us right now. We have enjoyed you. Thank you. Next week we will
Well,
not. Go ahead.
yeah, I was
I'm
going to
sorry. Go
say
ahead.
that. Nope. I was going to say next week we will not be here. It's family day. But just make sure you tune in to the following week after that because it is second Tuesday of the month, which means it is the youth edition.
No,
And
actually, the youth edition we're putting on August the 15th.
oh, we're gonna do August 15th.
August the 15th, we do the
That's
youth
terrible,
edition.
y'all.
Well, it's not so
I don't
terrible
even know
because
my days.
this kind of ends up our mental health series. We hope that
Okay.
you enjoyed it. However, just because the discussion here tonight has stopped about mental health, that doesn't mean the discussion at all stops. So again,
Yeah.
learn what all that you can about mental health and the resources. We will, if you go to our Let's Talk About It page, we will have a list of resources, for and very inclusive. So if you want to add, a resource which we don't list up there, make sure just DM us. And we're here, as Saterica said in the past, we're here for everybody, and we want to see everybody win.
Yep. Definitely.
So
Definitely.
yes, but next week will bring in a young gentleman on
The week on the 8th.
on the 8th, August the 8th. His name is Tyrone Pope. We're going to be starting a series we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship. Since August is Black Business Month, I believe it is, or Minority Business Month is what they call it. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship. So we're going to bring him on.
Yeah.
He's going to be our first gentleman that we're going to have on the show. So we're, excited about that. And then August the 15th is when we're going to do our youth edition. And we have an amazing young lady, which is coming on to the show.
The model of Texas.
Model, she's dancing,
Kamaya.
and she's from Columbia, Missouri. So you guys make sure that you tune in. And without further ado, we will sign off of here. We're out again. We're sorry about all the technical difficulties tonight. We'll get it better. And bye-bye.
Bye, Kalina.
Bye, Kalina. Thank you.